Okay, take 4. That's, we did Q bar, Wheel of Fortune, rational numbers. The symbol for rational numbers are Q. Don't ask me why. Q stands for rational. And irrational is Q bar. Q with a line on top of it. All rational numbers include fractions. Anything that can be written as fractions. It also includes any decimals that repeat and terminate, which is saying the same thing, because any decimals that terminate or repeat can be written as fractions. Okay, so for example, this is probably the most famous repeating decimal there is. What fraction is decimal 3333333? 1/3. Okay, so anytime you think of repeating decimals, think that decimal 333 can be converted into a fraction. Any repeating decimal can be converted into a fraction. Okay, and it's a rational number. The other thing is our number systems. If I go here so they can hear my microphone better, our decimal 0.17 is 17/100ths. Okay, it's based on fractions, tenths, hundredths, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. If I add another 4 here, I can just add another 4 here. If I add a 9, I can just add another 9 there. Okay, so any decimal that ends can also be written as a fraction, knowing our number system. All right, let's do the first 3. And we're just going to do rational or irrational. We're not going to use a calculator. Okay, so this one is a fraction that ends 1 in 493 thousandths. So you can write it as a fraction. Is it rational or irrational? If you can write it as a fraction. It's rational, so Q. Let's write down the word and the symbol. On the quiz, I think I asked you for the symbol, so you make sure you have to know which is which. The symbol is just Q. If it can be written as a fraction, it's Q. If it cannot be written as a fraction, so it doesn't end and it doesn't repeat, it's irrational. Which we're getting to right now. So everyone get your calculator out. And mine has disappeared. So let's get this out here. And put square root of 5 on your calculator, please. And what do you think? Does this one end or not end? Okay, if this was the question on a piece of paper, that would end. And you can write as a fraction, just put a whole bunch of zeros underneath it, right? However, on the calculator, it doesn't end, because your calculator is set to 10 digits. That you can assume it goes to the end of the calculator, it keeps going on forever. Okay? So this one is irrational. And you can put down it goes to the end of the calculator screen if you want to. C repeats. Decimal 347, 347, 347, 347. So you think of decimal 33333. Can you write that as a fraction? Yeah. Yes. So is it rational or irrational? It's rational. So write down, this is Q, half my nickname. Go ahead and do D, E, F, please. If it's a radical, just punch in your calculator and see what happens. punch in your calculator, it might be a decimal that ends, it might be a repeating decimal, it might be a decimal that doesn't end. Like, E kind of surprises you, it's not what I thought it was. So make sure you punch in your calculator and not guess. Talk to me.
So confused.
Okay.
Lost. How do you decide if it's rational or irrational?
If it can be written as a fraction. You know what? I might have missed one thing to help you out on D. Any numbers can be written as fractions. Okay, 9, same thing as 9 over 1. -8, same thing as -8 over 1. So any numbers are fractions as well. So you can either remember, you can convert any numbers into fractions, just put it over 1, or you can just remember that all numbers are rational. Okay, does that help? All right, let's see how we did on D. This square root of 81 is 9. Sorry, not negative, not radical 9. -9. And is -9 rational or irrational? Rational, so Q. Good. Now this is the one that I didn't think was going to be anything but a repeating decimal. But when you do square root of 4.41, sorry, not repeating, I meant to say, you get 2.1. A decimal that ends. What does that mean? Rational. And lastly, F. Who thinks F is rational? Who thinks F is irrational? Okay, usually it's 50-50. They're trying to trick you on F. If it was repeating, it would be 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2. So this is not repeating. This just goes on forever. So this is Q bar. Irrational. And your quiz you're going to have like end of next week sometime is going to be these little questions. Are they rational or irrational? There'll be a little 3 or 4 questions. You just have to put rational or irrational. And then the next one's going to be estimate. And one of them is going to be Xbox. Okay, so let's go to Xbox. And that's, oops, move it up a little bit more. Let's put these as calculator keys. And we're going to convert into a fraction. And this is fun stuff. All we're going to do is put decimal 8 on our calculator. And if you don't have this calculator, you're going to have to figure out how your calculator does it. Or you're going to have to do this the long way and convert decimals into fractions, which is not fun for 5B. You learned that in grade 7, 8, or 9. This one is fun. You press math and then fraction. Try to find your math key. And then fraction and then enter. Sweetness. What'd you get?
4.
4 over 5. So where's your math button, somebody? Top left, yep. So your math button is right under your green button. So you press math, and then it goes right to fraction. So you press enter, and then you press enter again. Yep.
I don't have I got just
Perfect. So that's your setting. Okay, everyone try to do B. Yep.
Oh, I didn't do 0 and 8 here.
If that helps, so yeah. Yep. Okay, try to do B. Try to get a fraction from decimal 1, 2, 3 repeating. That's what the bar means on top of 1, 2, 3. It means it repeats. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And first person who gets that gets a chocolate bar. first chocolate bar. Hands up if you have that. Just
41/3.
well done. Now, before I ask you how you got that, this is what I did. Decimal 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, math, fraction, enter, and that didn't help me at all. So what did you do differently, Justin?
I did that.
Okay, good. So decimal 1, 2, 3, I think 4 times works, and then you press math, fraction, enter. Awesome.
I rounded
Okay.
up to 1, 2.
Is that your second chocolate bar of the day? That's a new record. Okay, so write yourself a note here. Press 1, decimal 1, 2, 3 at least 4 times. Make yourself a little study note, because you're either going to get that right or wrong. Okay, go ahead and do C real quick. That should be easier.
That's for every single one that's
That's repeating, yep. You have to get close to the end of the calculator screen. And then it will recognize that it's a repeating decimal, otherwise it will just think it's a terminating or a decimal that ends.
Today's the first day. This is supposed to be the easiest day. I'm barely getting anything right.
Can anybody get this one? Xbox? Talk to me, Brooke. Can anybody get negative 111 200ths? Awesome. All right, good checks, good thumbs. How do we do it? We do negative. Oops, that's not negative. Negative, you guys, you have to put negative symbol here, not subtraction sign. Negative decimal 555. Then math, fraction equals.
Yeah, that one wasn't.
Okay. Xbox done.
That.
Homework is just rational, irrational. Let's go to number systems. Another quick little concept. Number systems. Mr. Jones, thank you. This is our smallest number system. Starts with 1, 2, 3, goes up. The next number system are whole numbers, and I remember it starts with a 0, and whole numbers have a O in it. So that's how I remember it. These just have one number more than natural numbers, but all of these numbers are within the whole numbers. All these whole numbers are within integers, which are about twice as big, almost twice as big. They now include the negative whole numbers. And then we do the rational numbers that we talked about. Rational numbers are anything that can be written as a fraction. So all of these include rational numbers, because remember, any number is over 1. So these are all rational numbers. So rational numbers include all of these numbers plus any fractions or decimals that repeat or end. Or, right down the big or there, it's either rational or irrational. I don't need to write the symbol, it's right here. So if you're a number, you're either rational or you're irrational. In grade 10, and then we have a new symbol. Real numbers are double stemmed R. Okay? There will be fake numbers, exactly.
Why?
Just for extra fun.
What What is this like?
Okay. Great question, Just. I'd give him another chocolate bar, except for he already has 2. The only thing that's not real numbers, and we're not going to deal with in grade 10, is this. Square root of negative 25. What number multiplied by itself equals negative 25? Is it 5?
Oh,
None.
Nope.
Nothing.
Is it negative 5? Negative 5? Is it 5 times negative 5? That's not multiplied by itself. The answer to this is positive negative 5i.
Mind blown.
what's I?
The fake numbers are called the imaginary numbers. Okay? I taught this in grade 11 in Bermuda. And I'm not sure where we are in, I think it's probably in calculus class. I'm not exactly sure where it is at HTA. But they're a lot of fun. I enjoy them. We're not going to worry about that. You don't need to write that down. We're not going to be talking about imaginary numbers. Just threw it out there. Okay. So, let's fill in this chart. It's important. Make sure you know it. What's the smallest number system? Which is what? What letter?
0.
N, natural numbers.
Where did N come from?
At the top, actual numbers, right beside 1, 2, 3 is N.
Then you have whole numbers, which includes a 0. That's after whole numbers.
I.
I.
You got it, Caleb.
And what's after integers?
R.
Not yet. Rational, which is Q. And if your number, you're either rational or irrational. What's the symbol for irrational? Q bar. Good job. And now real numbers, let's put the symbol for real numbers right there. The double stemmed R. Real numbers are rational and irrational. Okay, you need to know this chart. You also need to know, we just talked about all natural numbers are whole numbers, all whole numbers are integers, and so forth. I'm going to ask you, what number system do the numbers belong to? And you have to list them. So go to top of page 3. And the first thing I'm going to get you to do when you have a question like this is write down real numbers for all of them. Okay, every single answer when I ask you a question like this is real numbers. Okay, real numbers. Sometimes that's half of your answer.
What a real number.
Now, we're going to go to 9. Real numbers are all numbers. Okay, is 9 a natural number?
Yes.
Yes, it's right here. Is it a whole number?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Is it an integer?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Is it can be written as a fraction? Is it a rational number?
Yes.
9 over 1, yep. Or you can just know that all those numbers are rational numbers. Is it an irrational number? No. Is it a real number?
Yes.
Everything is a real number. Okay, so let's go back to the question, which is right there, and write down all the number systems that it belongs to. It's a natural number, it's a whole number, it's an integer, it's rational. It's as many as I can give you. There's 5 of them. Now let's go to this almost 7-Eleven fraction. What fractions? Is it natural?
No.
1, 2, 3, 4. Nope. What is it? It's real and rational. Good job. That's it.
Why don't they make only rational parts?
Good question.
Makes life so.
Okay, do the next 2.
Q or an R. Big difference.
Dude, it just makes sense.
I
Everything
bl-
else is named.
I blame the drunk mathematician.
Seriously. I use sauce.
Okay, quick. Do the last 2. What number systems do they belong to? Good job, Justin, who's punching his calculator. You get a square root, just punch in your calculator and see what happens. not going to pause this because it is being very iffy. And again, make sure you put real numbers for all of them. And I never ask you this question on the test or quiz. Okay, let's do the square root of 5. Let's get one of your answers first, and then put it on the calculator. Who has an answer for square root of 5? What number systems? Somebody help me. Cricket, cricket. Yep. Yes, it is. Good job. So if you put square root of 5 on your calculator, you got a decimal that ends, but it doesn't end really. It just ends on your calculator, right? So if any decimal that goes on forever and doesn't repeat is called an irrational number. So like pi or radical 5, those are irrational numbers. They go on forever and they don't repeat. That's the definition of an irrational number. What about -7? Is it natural? Is it whole?
No.
Is it integer? Is it rational? There you go. And it's a real. Good job. Now note this, please. Look at me here. Is that an integer?
No. It's not a whole.
Good. So just because you see a negative, don't put integer. Integers are only -1, -2, negative full numbers. Okay, so write yourself a note. This is not an integer. Just because it's a negative sign doesn't mean it's an integer. All right, let's go through our homework a little bit. Let's do this one real quick. What's the smallest number system? Good. Let's put the real one here. Go ahead and fill that in. We just filled it in the previous page. Let's get rid of that homework question.
The die hard thing.
Make sure you put Q and Q bar in the right place.
I'm not sitting in mine.
Okay, what do you think I'm going to tell you guys to do with number 4 here? Yep. What am I going to tell you to do? Yep, homework is what follows. So let's go to number 4. Everything's homework. What's the first thing you're going to do here? Someone say it. Check all the R's. Everyone check them right now. R. These are all real numbers. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, there you go. Okay, you can't forget the real numbers for all of them. Because like I said, when we did radical 5, the real number was half of the number systems it belonged to. Okay, let's go back to square roots. All right, let's everyone write this down. Gentlemen, thank you. These are perfect squares. Write it down on the right side here, please. And 4, 9, 16, you will recognize these numbers. And you'll like them. You might even love them. Okay, perfect square trinomials are binomials that are multiplied by itself. Perfect squares are numbers that are multiplied by itself. like 25 and 81 and 144. These are very, very important list for what we're doing in this whole unit. Now, estimating square roots is not very important, but it's in the curriculum, so I have to teach it to you. This is a rare question. You're going to do it once or twice. You're not going to do most of the quiz like this, okay? You only do it this way if I say estimate. If I say simplify, you do not do this. Only if I say estimate. If I say estimate, you use a wave the equal sign. This means is approximately equal to, and it means that you're estimating. Some people use this. I don't care. I'm going to use wave equal sign, but you have to put wave equal sign every time you do an estimate questions to show that it's not an exact answer, it's an estimate answer. And then you look for the number closest to 46. What number is closest to 46?
49.
49.
On my day.
And what's square root of 49? 7. That's it. Just remember your wave equal signs. If you put equal signs, I'm going to have to take a half a mark off for like all 4 of them.
Wait,
Because
why'd you have to send?
the square root of 49 is 7 times 7.
Gotcha.
Okay, let's do B. When there's a number in front, you just leave the number out in front. You're just changing the square roots. The square root of 18 is closest to what number? Right there, 16. So you change that to 16 plus 5 times. Square root of 37 is closest to 36. And then you simplify those perfect squares. Square root of 16 is 4, plus 5 times the square root of 36 is 6. And then we have 8 plus 30, which is approximately equal to 38. If you touch your calculator on this and punch it in your calculator and give me a decimal answer, you'll get 0. This is estimating. When you estimate, you put wave equal signs and you use the perfect square chart. That's the only way to do this. That's the only way to get marks. Okay, you go ahead and do C and D right now on your own. Try D. D is just doing it twice. Yep.
Are we going to put square together on a...
Nope. You just go 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4, 5 times 5, and this is what I'm going to recommend you do anyway when we're doing simplifying radicals and mixed radicals. It's easy to figure it out. All right, do C, and I want you to try D. Same question twice. Hopefully we'll have at least 5 minutes to work on homework. And there's not much homework, so. Yeah, let's do it twice. 2 steps. Yep. Well, I know what you mean, yeah. Could be 4 steps if you look at it that way. Do the process twice, or like you said, 4 steps written down. Okay, I'm more interested that you get C by itself, or by yourself. So, first step is don't do that. If you put equal, that means it is equal to and exactly the same. It's not equal to, it's approximately equal to. So wave equal sign, negative sign out in front. What is 5 closest to? Yep, the first one. Square root of 4, so that's approximately equal to, what's the answer? Close. Yeah, I know what you mean. Negative 2. That's it. That's all you do for that one. Nothing else to do. That's all you do for this one. That's it. Full marks. Don't try to make it more difficult or try to get something else in there. That's it. Now this one, let's ignore the large square root and just work within this one. So pretend that we're just doing the square root of 95. Did I do anything wrong right there?
Yes. Equal sign.
Yes, it has to be wave equal signs. 95 is closest to what number? 100. So that red one becomes square root of 100. And that's approximately equal to, go to my black one again. And now let's do, what's square root of 100, everybody? 10. Now we got to do it again. So what's the square root of 10 closest to? 9. So now we got to do it again. What's the answer? The answer is just 3.
Oh, I didn't. I still got
You
the
just
same
didn't.
thing, but I didn't like use the 9.
Oh, you have to
Okay,
go-
you got to show me. You got to show me the perfect square you use. That's showing your work. So I can't. Otherwise, I'm just going to assume you punched your calculator in. Okay, so always show me what perfect square you used. Talk to me, Brooke. Lynn. Yep, exactly. Okay. And the only other thing is cubic root, and it's exactly the same thing. So it's going to be doing this same thing with numbers that we're not as familiar with, but the perfect square chart or perfect cube chart right here. Go to the top of page 5, please. Write down perfect cubes. How you get this chart is just 2 times 2 times 2, 3 times 3 times 3, 4 times 4 times 4. These are pretty much the only ones I'm going to want you to know. I'm not too interested in 6, 7, 8, 9 cubed at this point. Okay, so again, wave equal signs. We're just going to estimate this. We're not going to use a calculator. 11 is closest to what number? 8. Right here, 8. And then you got to know what number times the cell 3 times equals 8. Everybody? 2. It says right here. 2 times 2 times 2 equals 8. So go ahead and do B, and we'll do C together. You're welcome to try C ahead of us if you want, but do B, pretty much the same thing as A. Wave equal sign. What's 120 closest to? Good. So cubic root of 125, which is approximately equal to what? Good. 5 times 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 quarters is $1.25. Okay, let me just give you a hint with this one. The first part of C is a square root, and the second part of C is a cubic root. Okay, so for the first part in red, you're going to be doing the previous chart that we had on the other page, and then for the green part, you're going to use this perfect cube chart. So try C. Square roots are the perfect squares. Cubic roots are the perfect cubes. So see what numbers you use for that, and we'll correct in 3 minutes. And then you got, well, we don't have much time to work on homework, but you can get one of the sections done. Square root of 64 is just 8, not square root of 8, just 8. So 4 times 8.
And then the minus
Minus
4.
4 times whatever the cube root of 64 is.
And then do you just leave it at that then?
No, and then you calculate it. Calculate 4 times 8, subtract 4 times 4. Good question. Okay, let's do red. Approximately equal to 4 square root. Square root of 70 is closest to what? 64 or 81? Little closer to 64. That's close though, so make sure you look at both of them. Subtract 4 times. What's a cubic root of 70? So we're on this chart. 70 is closest to what? Right here, 64. So the cubic root of 64. And now let's finish it off. 4 times, what's the square root of 64? Good. And what's the cubic root of 64? One number times itself 3 times equals 64? 4. And then you punch this in your calculator, you get 32 subtract 16, which is approximately equal to 16. And that's full marks. Yep. Quickly, yep. So you got 5 minutes right now to work on homework. Actually, yeah, 5 minutes. You can do the estimating part. So the next section is homework. Not a little, just a little bit because we just did it. You can go to the chart and do the number systems if you want, or you can get rid of that rational, irrational. There's only 4 questions. You can do those in 5 minutes. Okay. Otherwise, everything on that is homework. From pages 1 to 5 is homework. It's not going to take you long. God bless. Have an awesome day.